My head felt like someone had taken a jackhammer to it, then filled the cracks with cotton and regret. I groaned, rolling over in what had to be the softest bed I'd ever been in, which was my first clue that something was very, very wrong. I never had soft things. My mattress back at the apartment I shared with Tuna Fish literally had a spring poking through it. Cracking one eye open, I immediately regretted it. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, and I was suddenly, painfully aware that I was naked. Completely, utterly naked except for the silk sheets pooling around my waist. "Oh God," I whispered, pressing my palms against my eyes. What did I do? That's when I felt it. Weight on my left hand. I lifted it slowly, squinting at my fingers, and my heart stopped. 3 rings. 3 wedding rings. They were stacked on my ring finger like some kind of precious metal Jenga tower, 1 platinum band with diamonds, 1 gold band with sapphires, and 1 black titanium band with tiny rubies. Each one was clearly expensive, clearly custom-made, and clearly screaming, "You made terrible life choices, Pip Noodleman." "No, no, 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 no," I chanted, sitting up too fast. The room spun, and I caught sight of rose petals. Red ones. Everywhere. On the bed, on the floor, stuck to my chest. Oh God, why was there one in my hair? I stumbled out of bed, wrapping the sheet around myself like a toga, and practically fell into the bathroom. It was the size of my entire apartment. Marble everything, a tub that could fit 5 people, and a marriage certificate taped to the mirror. My hands shook as I pulled it down, my eyes scanning the official-looking document. There was my signature, big and loopy and clearly drunk written, Pip Noodleman. And below it, 3 other names. Maximilian Thunderbuns. Lysander Fancypants. Zephyr Glittercock. Those can't be real names, I said to my reflection, who looked as horrified as I felt. Please tell me those aren't real names. But they were. All 3 signatures were there, along with a very official Las Vegas wedding chapel stamp, and I grabbed the counter for support, a date from last night. I got married. To 3 people. With names that sounded like rejected romance novel characters. And I remembered absolutely nothing. Well, that wasn't entirely true. I remembered Tuna Fish dragging me out for 1 drink to celebrate finishing finals. I remembered something about a bar with really strong Long Island iced teas. I remembered laughing, maybe dancing, and then nothing. Just a black hole where my memories should be. "I'm going to kill Tuna Fish McGee," I muttered, splashing cold water on my face. "I'm going to absolutely murder. Who gets to bring him breakfast?" A voice boomed from somewhere outside the bathroom. A deep, commanding voice that made my Omega instincts perk up traitorously. "I'm the chef, obviously I should." Another voice, slightly higher but still very male, very alpha. "You both had your turn last night. It's my turn too." A third voice, rough and amused. I froze, the sheet clutched to my chest, as I realized I wasn't alone in this penthouse of poor decisions. The bathroom door swung open and I yelped. Standing in the doorway was the most gorgeous man I'd ever seen, which was really saying something given my current panic levels. He was tall, like stupidly tall, with dark hair that looked professionally tousled and a jawline that could cut glass. He wore nothing but gray sweatpants that hung low on his hips, revealing abs that had abs. "Oh good, you're awake," he said, his voice doing things to my insides that were completely inappropriate for this situation. "I'm Maximilian Thunderbuns. Your husband." I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. No words came out. He stepped closer and I caught his scent, sandalwood and something expensive, probably aged whiskey or liquid gold or whatever rich people smelled like. My Omega biology betrayed me completely, making me sway toward him. "Careful," Max said, catching me as my knees buckled. His arms wrapped around me, pulling me against that bare chest, and I could feel him purring. Actually purring. The vibrations went straight through me, making my brain even foggier. "The hangover hitting you hard?" I managed, articulate as always. "Max, stop hogging him." The bathroom suddenly felt very crowded as 2 more men appeared. One had blonde hair pulled back in a bun, flower on his cheek, and was brandishing a whisk like a weapon. The other had silver hair, multiple piercings, and was wearing leather pants at, I checked the clock, 9 in the morning. I wasn't hogging Lie, I was making sure our husband didn't pass out, Max said, still holding me. Our husband? I squeaked. The blonde one, Lie apparently, smiled warmly and stepped forward. Lysander Fancypants, but please call me Lie. I'm making you crepes with fresh berries and homemade whipped cream. You mentioned last night that you loved breakfast food. Did. The one in leather pants smirked, leaning against the doorframe with his arms crossed. Zephyr Glittercock. You can call me Zeph. And yes, before you ask, that is my real name. Family curse. His eyes dragged down my sheet-covered body in a way that made me feel very, very warm. You looked better without the sheet, for the record. Oh my God, I said, my face burning hot enough to cook Lee's crepes on. This isn't happening. This is a nightmare. I'm going to wake up in my terrible apartment with tuna fish eating cereal too loudly and… It's not a nightmare, sweetheart, Max said softly, still holding me steady. His thumb rubbed circles on my hip. We got married. All of us. Last night, at the little chapel of eternal shenanigans. That's not a real place. It absolutely is, Zeph said, pulling out his phone. And we have videos. No. But it was too late. He turned the screen toward me, and there I was, absolutely wasted, standing between 3 gorgeous men at a neon-lit altar. Drunk me was climbing Max like a tree, kissing Lee's neck, and grabbing Zeph's ass while declaring at the top of my lungs, I love all of you. Let's get married forever. I watched in horror as Video Me shoved rings onto their fingers, then demanded they put a ring on it, while gyrating to Beyoncé playing in the background. I was going to die. Right here, in this bathroom, of pure mortification. This can't be legal, I whispered. Oh, it's very legal, Lai said cheerfully, coming closer with a strawberry. Now open up. You need to eat something. And as Max held me steady, Zeph watched with predatory interest, and Lai hand-fed me a strawberry, I realized my life had just become incredibly, impossibly complicated. Tuna fish, this is not funny. I hissed into my phone, pacing the penthouse bedroom while my 3 apparent husbands argued about lunch in the kitchen. Oh, it's hilarious. Tuna fish wheezed between fits of laughter. You married 3 guys. With those names. Pip, I can't, I literally cannot breathe. I need help, not your mockery. I snapped, checking the door to make sure none of them were listening. What do I do? How do I get out of this? Have you Googled them? Tuna fish asked, suddenly serious. Because dude, if they have money, maybe just stay married? I'm just saying our rent is due and I'm not staying married to 3 random alphas for money. Even if one of them is apparently a celebrity chef? Because I just Googled Lysander Fancypants and oh my God, Pip, he has a Michelin star. Do you know what you could eat? I hung up on him. Taking a deep breath, I marched back into the living room where all 3 of them were waiting. They'd given me space to process for the last hour, which I appreciated, but now it was time to be an adult about this. Okay, I said, crossing my arms. I want an annulment. This was clearly a drunken mistake and… No. Max's voice was flat, absolute. He sat in an armchair like it was a throne, legs crossed, looking every inch the CO tuna fish had probably already looked up. What do you mean, no? Zeph lounged on the couch, that infuriating smirk still on his face. We mean you can't just annul it, sweetheart? There's a contract. What contract? Lai appeared from the kitchen holding a tablet, his expression apologetic. You were very insistent last night about making sure we were all serious about this. So you made us sign a contract stating that we'd live together for 30 days before anyone could file for divorce. He handed me the tablet, and I stared at the document in horror. There was Drunk Me's signature again, along with a clause that made my stomach drop. If Party A, Pip Noodleman, terminates the marriage before the 30-day period, Party A agrees to pay Parties B, C, and D $10 million in damages. $10 million? I shrieked. I don't have $10 million. I have $17 and a Subway punch card. We know, Max said calmly. Which is why you're going to stay. I gaped at him. You can't hold me hostage with a contract drunk me signed. It's legally binding, Zeph said, not looking remotely sorry. Our lawyers already confirmed it this morning. You called lawyers? We're not letting you go that easily, Pip. Max stood, walking toward me with that predator grace that ALPHAS had. You married us. Maybe you were drunk, but you wouldn't have done it if some part of you didn't want to. That's insane. Is it? Ly set down the tablet, his warm brown eyes meeting mine. You talked for hours last night before we went to that chapel. You told us about your dreams, your fears, how lonely you've been. You said we made you feel safe. My heart clenched. I didn't remember, but something about his words felt true. 30 days, Max said, stopping just in front of me. Live here with us. Let us prove this wasn't a mistake. If after 30 days you still want to leave, we'll pay for the divorce ourselves. No $10 million. You walk away free. And if I refuse? Then we'll see you in court for breach of contract. Max's smile was sharp. Your choice, Pip. I moved into their mansion that afternoon with one suitcase and a lot of regret. The place was ridiculous. 8 bedrooms, a pool, a home theater, and a kitchen that made Ly literally moan when he showed it to me. My bedroom, because they'd insisted I have my own space, was bigger than my entire apartment. We'll take turns, Max explained over dinner that first night. Each of us gets designated date days to spend time with you. No pressure, just getting to know each other properly. This is insane, I muttered, pushing around the gourmet pasta Ly had made. It was delicious, which made me even more annoyed. Day 3 is mine, Zeph said, grinning. Hope you like motorcycles, baby. Don't call me baby. Would you prefer sweetheart? Darling? My legally wedded husband. I threw a dinner roll at him. The first week was awkward. I tried to stay in my room mostly, but they were persistent. Max would bring me coffee in the morning, made exactly how I liked it, which was creepy because I'd apparently told him while drunk. Ly left fresh pastries outside my door. Zeph just barged in whenever he wanted and made himself comfortable on my bed. Boundaries? I'd yelled the 3rd time I found him there. We're married, he'd said simply. No boundaries. But then things got complicated. I was sitting by the pool on day 8 when Max got a phone call. I watched his expression darken, his jaw clenching as he listened to whoever was on the other end. Handle it, he snapped, hanging up. When he saw me watching, he forced a smile. Business issue. What kind of issue? He hesitated, then sighed. Someone's threatening to leak photos of our marriage certificate to the press. They're trying to use it as leverage for a deal. Can they do that? They can try. Max sat beside me, close enough that our knees touched. This is my world, Pip. Cutthroat business politics. I'm sorry you're caught in it. It's not your fault I drunkenly married you. Isn't it? His hand found mine, thumb brushing over my rings. I should have stopped you. We all should have. But we were just as drunk on you as you were on those cocktails. My breath caught at the intensity in his eyes. Day 12 was Lee's date day. He took me to his restaurant after hours, the place empty except for us. I'm going to teach you to make fresh pasta, he announced, tying an apron around my waist. I can barely make ramen without burning it. Then we'll start simple. He moved behind me, his chest against my back as he guided my hands to the flour. Cooking is about feeling, not just following instructions. His breath was warm on my neck as he showed me how to knead the dough, his hands covering mine, and I was suddenly very aware of every point of contact between us. You're tense, he murmured, lips brushing my ear. Relax, Pip. I've got you. That's what I'm afraid of, I whispered. He turned me around, flour dusting both our faces, and for a moment I thought he might kiss me. Instead, he smiled softly. I know this is overwhelming, but I meant what I said that first morning. You make me feel things I've never felt before. Even if you can't remember that night, I do. Every word, every laugh, every moment you chose us. My heart was hammering. Lie. No pressure, he said quickly. Just, don't shut us out completely. Please. Day 17 brought chaos. I came home from class to find Max's office door open, voices raised inside. A woman's voice, sharp and cold. "You can't possibly think this sham marriage will hold up, Max. We had an agreement. That agreement ended when you cheated, Buttercup." I peeked around the corner and saw her, tall, elegant, dripping with diamonds. Lady Buttercup Snootington, apparently, because of course that was a real name people had. "This Omega is clearly just after your money," she sneered. "Pip isn't." "Oh please. How convenient that he doesn't remember marrying you. How much did you pay him?" Something hot and angry flared in my chest. I stepped into the doorway. "He didn't pay me anything," I said coldly. "And I'm standing right here, so maybe direct your insults at me instead of talking about me like I'm not in the room." Buttercup's eyes raked over me dismissively. "You won't last. Max needs someone of his caliber, not some college student playing dress-up." "Get out," Max said, his voice deadly quiet. "Now." After she left, Max turned to me, something vulnerable in his expression. "Pip, I'm sorry you had to." I kissed him. I don't know what possessed me. Maybe it was the anger, maybe it was the way he defended me, maybe it was the fact that I'd been fighting my attraction to all three of them for over 2 weeks. But I grabbed his stupidly perfect face and kissed him hard. He froze for half a second, then made a sound deep in his chest and kissed me back. His hands found my waist, pulling me flush against him as he walked me backward until I hit his desk. The kiss was desperate, hungry, nothing like the gentle romance I'd expected. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Max pressed his forehead to mine. 13 more days, he whispered. "Don't leave, Pip. Please don't leave." And God help me, I was starting to think I wouldn't. Day 21 started like most mornings had started to, with Zeph breaking into my room at an ungodly hour. "Rise and shine, beautiful," he said, throwing open my curtains with the enthusiasm of someone who'd clearly already had 3 espressos. "We're going for a ride." I groaned, burying my face in my pillow. "It's 6 a.m. Perfect time to watch the sunrise from the canyon." He yanked my blanket off and I yelped. "Come on, we only have 9 days left of this arrangement. Gotta make them count." 9 days. The reminder hit me harder than it should have. I'd been trying not to think about the deadline, but it was creeping closer every day. And the worst part? I didn't want to leave anymore. Somewhere between Lee's midnight cooking lessons and Max's habit of reading beside me while I studied and Zeph's ridiculous motorcycle rides, I'd started to fall for them. All of them. Which was absolutely terrifying. The motorcycle ride was perfect. Wind in my hair, Zeph's solid warmth at my back, the city waking up below us. We stopped at an overlook just as the sun painted the sky pink and gold. "Beautiful, right?" Zeph said, but when I turned, he was looking at me, not the view. "You're such a cliché," I said, but I was smiling. "Yeah, well." He stepped closer, hands settling on my hips. "You make me want to be every cheesy romance trope ever written." "Zeph. I'm falling for you, Pip." I already fell. That first night when you laughed at my stupid name and said it suited me because I was flashy and ridiculous but somehow perfect, I was gone. His thumb traced circles on my hip bone. "Sit. After the 30 days. Stay with us." My heart was doing gymnastics in my chest. I don't know if I can. This whole thing is insane. People don't just marry 3 people and... He kissed me. Not rough like I'd expected, but soft, almost reverent, like I was something precious. When he pulled back, his eyes were intense. "We'll make it work. Whatever it takes. Just don't leave." I should have known things were going too well. That afternoon, I was at the mansion alone. Max at work, Ly at the restaurant, Zeph at the track, when someone knocked on the door. I opened it to find a woman in a sharp business suit holding a tablet. "Pip Noodleman?" she asked crisply. "Yes. I'm Miranda Shrewsbury, Lysander Fancypants manager." She pushed past me into the house without invitation. "We need to talk about this marriage situation." "Excuse me?" She turned, her expression cold. Lysander's brand is built on his eligibility. The sexy single chef image sells. This marriage of yours, especially to 3 people, is a PR nightmare. His sponsors are threatening to pull out. My stomach dropped. I didn't know. Of course you didn't. But now you do. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to quietly divorce all three of them, sign this NDA, and take this check for your trouble. She held out a piece of paper with more zeros than I'd ever seen. You're trying to bribe me? I'm trying to save Lysander's career. Unless you want to be responsible for destroying everything he's worked for? I stared at her, anger rising. Get out. Miss Noodleman. I said get out. She left, but her words stayed with me, festering. Was I really ruining Lee's career? His dreams? That evening, I was still spiraling when Zeph came home. He took one look at my face and frowned. What happened? Nothing, His phone buzzed. Then again. And again. He pulled it out, and I watched his expression shift from confused to furious as he scrolled through whatever he was reading. Zeph. He looked up at me, and something in his eyes made my blood run cold. Did you know about this? Know about what? He turned his phone toward me. It was a social media post from someone named Blade Edgelord. Looks like Glittercock finally tamed an Omega. Easiest $50,000 I ever lost. Here's the receipt from our bet 3 months ago. #WhippedAlpha. Below it was a photo of a betting slip, dated 2 months before we'd even met. No, I whispered. No, that's not. It's fake, Zeph said quickly. Pip, that's completely fake. I never made a bet about you. Blade's just trying to mess with us because... Because what? Because you rejected him? Because he wants to ruin your reputation? My voice was rising. Or because there's some truth to it? There's no truth to it. Then why does it exist? Why would he make something like that up? Because he's a vindictive asshole who... Zeph ran his hands through his hair, frustrated. Pip, please. You have to believe me. But Miranda's words were echoing in my head, mixing with Buttercup's sneer and this new accusation, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. I need space, I gasped, backing toward the stairs. Pip, wait. I ran. I was throwing clothes into my suitcase when Max got home. He appeared in my doorway, still in his suit, and the sight of him made my chest ache. What are you doing? His voice was carefully controlled. Leaving. I can't do this anymore. It's too much. The exes, the managers, the rumors. I'm ruining everything for you guys. That's not true. Isn't it? Your ex thinks I'm a gold digger. Lee's manager thinks I'm destroying his career. Zeph apparently bet his friends he could tame me. That bet is fake. Max crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbing my suitcase and tossing it aside. Blade photoshopped it to cause problems. We already have our lawyers on it. It doesn't matter. I was crying now, angry tears streaming down my face. Don't you see? This can't work. We're from different worlds. I'm just some broke college student who got drunk and made a mistake. Max grabbed my face, forcing me to look at him. You are not a mistake. You're the best thing that's happened to me in years. To all of us. Max. I love you. The words hung in the air between us. I'm in love with you, Pip. I have been since you told me at that stupid chapel that I looked like a romance novel cover had a baby with a CO magazine. You're funny and smart and kind, and you make me want to be better. I was full on sobbing now. I can't choose between you. How am I supposed to choose? You don't have to choose. Lee's voice came from the doorway. He stepped in, followed by Zeph, both looking miserable. That's the whole point. We're a package deal. My manager doesn't speak for me, Lai continued, coming closer. I don't give a damn about sponsors or image. I care about you. About us. I already fired Miranda. And Blade can go to hell, Zeph added roughly. The bet is fake, Pip. I swear on everything. The only bet I made was after we got married. I bet my crew 50 grand that I'd fall in love with you within a week. He laughed bitterly. I lost that bet. Took me 3 days, not 7. We know this is unconventional, Max said, his thumbs wiping my tears. We know people will talk and judge and try to tear us apart. But I don't care. Let them talk. I'll lose everything, I whispered. You won't. Lai took my hand. You'll have us. Isn't that enough? I looked at all three of them. Max with his fierce protectiveness, Ly with his gentle certainty, Zeph with his raw honesty. And I realized something. I'd already made my choice. I'd made it somewhere between day 1 and day 21. In all the little moments I'd stopped fighting and started falling. I need you to scent mark me, I said suddenly. All of you. Right now. I want everyone to know I'm yours. Max's eyes flashed gold. Pip, are you sure? I'm sure. I'm staying. After 30 days, after 60, after forever. I'm staying. What happened next was a blur of hands and mouths and 3 alphas trying to cover every inch of my skin with their scents. Zeph nipped at my throat, Max kissed behind my ear, and Ly, gentle, sweet Ly, bit down on my shoulder hard enough to leave a mark. Mine, each of them growled against my skin. Ours, I corrected breathlessly. And for the first time in 21 days, I felt completely, perfectly home. Day 30 arrived with unexpected silence. I woke up alone, which was unusual considering at least one of my husbands typically found their way into my bed by morning. The house felt too quiet, too still, and anxiety twisted in my gut. Today was decision day. The end of our contract. The day I could walk away free and clear. Except I'd already decided I wasn't leaving. I told them that a week ago, shown them in every way I could. So why did the house feel like it was holding its breath? I found a note on the kitchen counter in Max's precise handwriting. Had to handle some business. Back soon. Good. Max always said goodbye, even if I was still sleeping. Lee's restaurant clogs were gone from by the door. Zeph's motorcycle keys missing from the hook. The anxiety bloomed into full-blown worry. I tried calling Max straight to voicemail. Ly didn't pick up. Zeph's phone just rang and rang. Okay, don't panic, I told myself, pacing the empty mansion. They're probably just busy. It's fine. Everything's fine. But it wasn't fine. Something felt wrong. My phone finally rang around 2 p.m. A known number. Hello. Is this Pip Noodleman? A crisp, professional voice. Yes, who? This is Detective Morrison with the LVPD. I'm calling about Maximilian Thunderbuns, Lysander Fancypants, and Zephyr Glittercock. My heart stopped. What happened? Are they okay? They're fine, but we need you to come down to the station. There's been an incident. The police station was chaos. I burst through the doors, wild-eyed and terrified, to find all 3 of my husbands sitting in the waiting area looking varying degrees of roughed up. Max had a split lip. Lee's knuckles were bandaged. Zeph had the beginning of a black eye and looked entirely too pleased about it. What the hell happened? I rushed toward them, and all 3 stood immediately. We're fine, Max said quickly, reaching for me. You're bleeding. You should see the other guys, Zeph said with a grin that made me want to kiss him and strangle him simultaneously. Mr. Noodleman? Detective Morrison appeared, and I realized she was trying not to smile. Your husbands got into an altercation this morning. Multiple witnesses confirmed they were defending themselves, so we're not pressing charges. You're free to take them home. Altercation with who? Jeffrey Von Moneybags, Max said darkly. My business rival. The one who's been trying to use our marriage as blackmail. My blood ran cold. What did he do? The 3 of them exchanged looks, and Ly finally sighed. He found out today was day 30. That our contract was up. He may have tried to kidnap you to use as leverage for a merger deal. He what? Didn't get very far, Zeph said cheerfully. We got a tip from one of Max's contacts. Caught him and his goons outside your campus building. You could have been hurt. I was shaking now, adrenaline and fear and fury mixing together. You could have been killed. But we weren't. Max cupped my face gently despite his split lip. And neither were you. That's all that matters. The car ride home was tense. They'd taken Max's SUV, big enough for all of us, and I sat in the back between Ly and Zeph while Max drove. I can't believe you didn't call me, I said for the 15th time. We didn't want to worry you, Ly said softly, his bandaged hand finding mine. Well, I'm worried now. Pip, Max caught my eyes in the rearview mirror. We had to handle it. Jeffrey wasn't going to stop. He was obsessed with destroying me, and you were the perfect target. So you what, just decided to go full vigilante? We protected what's ours, Zeph said simply, his arms sliding around my shoulders. No one touches our Omega. No one. The possessiveness in his voice should have annoyed me. Instead, it made something hot and primal unfurl in my chest. You're all insane, I muttered. You married us, Max pointed out. What does that make you? Back at the mansion, the adrenaline finally crashed. My hands wouldn't stop shaking as I tried to clean Max's split lip, and Lai gently took the first aid kit from me. I've got this, he said softly. Sit down before you fall down. I collapsed onto the couch, and suddenly all three of them were there. Max on my left, Zeph on my right, Lai kneeling in front of me. I could have lost you, I whispered. All of you. Today could have gone so differently. But it didn't. Max's arm came around my shoulders. When Morrison called, I thought, my voice cracked. I thought something terrible had happened. And I realized that I can't lose you. Any of you. I don't care what society thinks or what people say. I don't care if it's unconventional or weird or... Pip, Lai interrupted gently. We know. No, let me finish. I took a shaky breath. Day 30 is over. The contract is done. And I'm choosing to stay. Not because of some legal obligation, but because I love you. All of you. Somehow, impossibly, I fell in love with 3 ridiculous alphas with insane names and... Zeph kissed me. Just grabbed my face and kissed me breathless. And when he pulled back, both Max and Lai were staring at me with identical expressions of wonder. Say it again, Max demanded. I love you, I said, looking at each of them. I love all of you. Thank God, Lai breathed. Because we love you too. So much it's actually terrifying. We need to make this official, Zeph said suddenly, standing up. Like, properly official. We're already married, I pointed out. Not like that. He looked at Max and Lai. I'm talking about a real bonding. The kind that can't be broken by contracts or business rivals or nosy exes. My breath caught. Bonding was permanent. It was forever. It was... Yes, I said before I could overthink it. Yes, I want that. What happened next was a blur of sensation and emotion that I knew I'd remember for the rest of my life. They took me to the master bedroom, the one we'd been dancing around for 30 days. It was huge, with a bed that could easily fit all 4 of us, and I realized they'd been planning for this. Hoping for it. Are you sure? Max asked one more time, always the careful one. Once we do this, there's no going back. I've never been more sure of anything. The bonding itself was intense and intimate and absolutely perfect. Each of them took turns marking me, biting down on the sensitive junction between my neck and shoulder, right over my scent glands. The pain was sharp and immediate, but it dissolved into pleasure so overwhelming I couldn't think straight. Max went first, his bite controlled and precise. Then Lai, gentle even as his teeth sank in. And finally Zeph, who growled possessively against my skin as he marked me. When it was my turn to mark them, I took my time. Each bite was a promise, a claim, a declaration of forever. By the end, we were all trembling, covered in sweat and scent and absolutely drunk on each other. Mine, I whispered against each of their marks. Ours, they corrected in unison. We stayed tangled together for hours, just holding each other, letting the bond settle and strengthen. I could feel them now, their emotions, their presence, like a constant hum beneath my skin. Max's steady determination. Lee's warm contentment. Zeph's fierce joy. I can feel you, I said in wonder. We can feel you too, Lai murmured, kissing my temple. Your happiness. It's overwhelming. Get used to it, I said, smiling. You're stuck with me now. Wouldn't have it any other way, Max said, pulling me closer. 6 months later, I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at the positive pregnancy test in my shaking hands. Pip, you okay in there? Zeph's voice came through the door. I opened it to find all 3 of them crowding the doorway, concern written across their faces. I'm pregnant, I blurted out. Silence. then chaos. Max swept me into his arms, spinning me around. Ly actually started crying. And Zeph let out a whoop so loud it probably woke the neighbors. "We're having a baby," Max kept repeating like he couldn't believe it. "Our baby," I corrected, laughing and crying at the same time. "I need to start planning meals," Ly said immediately. "Proper nutrition for pregnancy, lots of protein and—" "I'm building a nursery," Zeph announced. "The best damn nursery in the entire state." "You can't build," Max pointed out. "I'll hire people. The best people." Watching them argue about baby preparations, I felt the bond warm with their love and excitement. This ridiculous, unconventional, absolutely perfect family. My phone buzzed. A text from Tunafish. Dude, I may have made a mistake. Remember that Vegas trip I took last weekend? I woke up with 4 wedding rings and some very interesting voicemails. I showed the text to my husbands, and we all burst out laughing. "Should we warn him?" Ly asked. "Nah," Zeph said with a grin. "Let him figure it out. Best mistake he'll ever make." I looked around at my 3 alphas, my husbands, my mates, my everything, and couldn't agree more. Mistake.